bestow the precious Dharma teachings. Homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong. And homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa and to Master Dupten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of Homa today, Padma Kumara. Simu, Tanchen Katso, Toten City, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples are present here and over the webcast. Good afternoon, how do you do? Aisteru Sarangi Hola amigo Te quiero mucho Sugoin Ichiban Kimochi ii Chumi Yappy Ling ling Konnichiwa I would like to announce for next Sunday, July 19th, 3 p.m. at the Rainbow Temple, we will perform the Homa of Tara who dispels epidemics. Every month, we will perform the Homa of Tara who dispels epidemics. It's the one that we perform the most. So I would like to let you know. The first time we performed the Homa of Tara who dispels epidemics, there were about 600 disciples who became the primary supplicants. And the second time we performed the Tara who dispels epidemics, there were about 360 disciples as the primary supplicants. And the last time we performed the Homa of Tara who dispels epidemics, second to last time, about 200 people. And then the last one that we had Tara who dispels epidemics, there were only 60 people became the primary supplicants, from 600 decreasing and decreasing to about 60 now. And next week is again Tara who dispels epidemics. Maybe we'll only have 20 people. So the numbers keep decreasing. So let me tell you, Now we want to save Tara, who dispels epidemics. Because if we don't save her, that the next time when we have the Homa of Tara who dispels epidemic, the primary supplicants will be 0. From the most to the lowest. And someone said, that the name of this Homa is the name of the, it's like, in Chinese it's like saving the coronavirus instead of saving the people. So therefore the coronavirus kept increasing. It should be called the Tara who dispels epidemic. So to dispel the epidemics, not to save the epidemics. What do you say? So we have to change the name. You saved the epidemics. The epidemics. So we have to change it to dispels the epidemics. So I hope that next week we would say it's the Homa fire offering ceremony of Tara who dispels epidemics, not saves the epidemics. Then I hope many people would become the primary supplicants. So now we want to save the Homa fire offering ceremony because nobody registered as primary supplicants for the Tara who dispels epidemics. So for next week, it will be the Homa fire offering ceremony of Tara who dispels epidemics. So today we perform Padma Kumara. No need to say more because we all know about Padma Kumara. That to Buddha school disciples, each one of them would know about Padma Kumara. To start, let me tell a joke. Xiaoming has grown up. When he got off work and got home, Xiaoming works now and he comes home after work and opened the door, and his 5-year-old daughter came, greeted him and said, "Daddy, you work so hard. Let me sing a song for you." And Xiaoming was really happy. "Thank you, honey." And the 5-year-old daughter started to sing. In this world, only only mom is the best. We should tell the music composer they should also write a song. that in this world only dad is the best, then it'll be fair. How come it's only mama? It's only mommy, and how about daddy? Why? When we had Tara who dispels epidemics for so many times, and yet America is always number one in this pandemic. That the numbers of infections is number one, and in the number of deaths also number one. That in America is always number one. Because they got the wrong name. They got the name wrong. How come you saved the epidemics? Therefore, it's getting worse and worse. So it should be named Tara who dispels epidemics. So we have to change the name. I hope that we have more primary supplicants. The more we save, the worse it gets. A grandma brought her cell phone to the telecom company and said, "Young man, how come my screen gets so dark? Can you please check?" And the young man took a look at the grandma and then look at the cell phone and say, "It is dark." Because you are wearing the sunglasses, Grandma. That's why it seems dark. So therefore, we should check on ourselves. Be introspective. Why we still cannot save, cannot avert the pandemic? It's probably because of the name Tara who saves the epidemics in Chinese. So from next week, we will change the name to Tara who dispels epidemics. Now we will continue the you ask, I answer. Hello, Grandmaster. I am Lian Hua Jiahui from Malaysia. May I apply the 1,000-body transformation practice when performing the smoke offering as an offering to the Buddhas as well as to my karmic creditors in order to gather more resources? When we perform the smoke offering, there's a term called the small smoke offering with great merits. Although the smoke offering is small, but its merits is tremendous, it's huge. Smoke offering is an offering to the karmic creditors. If you want to offer to the Buddhas, you offer it on the altar. And offering to the karmic creditors should be done in outside or on the decks, outside the house, with the windows as the the screen or the backyards, that's offerings for the karmic creditors. If you want to apply the 1,000 body transformation to perform smoke offering, you can visualize the smoke offering burner, incense burner, to become tens of thousands of them. Then you would generate merits. It should be okay if you perform the smoke offering using the 1,000 body transformation. The principle is one incense burner becomes 100 incense burners, and on one dimension, then it would become 1,000 incense burners. And then you transform it again into infinity, then it becomes tens of thousands of them. Of course, then you can accumulate the resources of your spiritual cultivation. So these methods are the same. So it can be done. Second question. Due to my lack of time, when I practice smoke offering to offer to the Buddhas and karmic creditors, can I just do the main part of the practice? I.e., lit the incense, form the mudra, visualize merging with Chenrezig, chant the mantra, make the offering, and visualize the transformations of the offerings. Merit dedication, 100-syllable mantra, and completion. You must be an inventor. You can invent things. You change the smoke offering practice into the deity yoga, because it's for Chenrezig, the forearm Avalokitesvara. So the main part and then the ending part. So now I want to ask Tanchen Kato, if you practice the smoke offering and then you add the deity yoga, is it allowed? It should be. Just be seated. This is an inventor or fabricator. My guru never taught me to practice smoke offering and then also the Chenrezig deity yoga. My guru never taught me to chant when you perform the smoke offering and then combine it with the Chenrezig deity yoga. No, it was never taught to me. And I have read all the practice procedures of smoke offerings. It's only for smoke offerings. You don't combine it with the deity yoga. So can you do it? Let me ask Golden Mother. Golden Mother said, no. Golden Mother said, no. And the reason, she said, so like when we're making a dish, It's say like a sweet dumplings. Like a sweet dumpling soup, and we add sugar, and you also add a lot of salt, and then vinegar, and the chili oil. No, don't do that, please. So Golden Mother told me, when it's sweet, it's sweet. When it's savory, it's savory. If it's spicy, it's spicy. If it's curry, it's curry. Don't add all the strange taste. Smoke offering is primarily for the karmic creditors. And then you add the deity yoga. Let's not talk about this. And you invited your karmic creditors, and then you do the deity yoga. Of course, the Chenrezig came because he will help you to dispatch to the karmic creditors, and yet they have to enter into your body. It would be very messy. It's hard to say what will happen. So Golden Mother said, no, don't mix it up all you like. Don't add things as you like. Now you understand. Just be simple and straightforward. Of course, there are other combinations. Why? The root guru yoga can be combined with your yidam. The yidam yoga. Why? Because the root guru is your yidam, is your main deity. And you treat or you view your root guru as the Vajradhara. So your root guru and Vajrasattva, Vajra hand, Vajra heart are in union. Then of course you can practice them. But the karmic creditors and Chenrezig, how could they be in union? Your karmic creditors cannot be assimilated with Chenrezig. They are of different taste, so they cannot be combined. That's the principle. They are different taste. Then of course you can do the ones with one taste, because karmic creditors are ghosts. Now you understand. No? The third question. Please teach us the supreme pith teaching of the authentic smoke offering, so that I can attain fruition soon in my smoke offering practice. The practice procedure of smoke offering is like that. The key formula is, the most important thing is that you have to have a bodhicitta. Why do we cultivate spiritually? Very simple statement. Why do you want to cultivate spiritually? The most important reason, the very important reason, is to generate bodhicitta. to be compassionate towards the sentient beings of the six rebirth realms that suffer greatly in the rebirth realms. So one, bodhicitta. In order to have the attainment of bodhi or enlightenment, first is to be compassionate to the sentient beings in the six rebirth realms that are suffering. So this is the most important reason why you want to cultivate spiritually. So if you practice smoke offering with the supreme compassionate mind and heart to offer to all the karmic creditors, so that once they gain good fortunes and resources, then you yourself will also receive some resources and lots of favorable beings helping you. That's for the small smoke offering with great merits. So the supreme teaching is the wholehearted compassion toward your own karmic creditors. Maintain this kind of mindset that you want to help and salvage your karmic creditors. This would be the most supreme key formula. And you just do it according to the practice procedure, step by step. And you're filled with compassion toward the sentient beings in the six rebirth realms who are suffering. And in order to salvage them, you perform the smoke offering. Then the Chenrezig will bless your karmic creditors. And that would be the merits that you yourself gain too. Now the next questioner. Homage to Grandmaster. I came from Hong Kong, Lianhua Ziwei. At the Uchisuma ceremony, you once said that we need to use agar wood to carve a Vajra scepter of Uchisuma. So is it improper if you use different kind of wood? Or for the Uchisuma Vajra scepter, it's still best to use agar wood. Is it expensive? Yes. Any other kind of wood? Yeah, the thunder-stricken wood that has been stricken by the thunder. But that's also difficult to find. Some people said, oh, this is wood, thunder-stricken wood, but you don't know. Any other kinds of wood? Sandalwood? If there's no way for you to use agar wood, I think sandalwood will also do. Will it be improper? Let me ask. Please advise for the Uchisuma Vajra scepter. If we don't have agar wood, can we use different kind of wood? She said, okay, to use sandalwood. You can replace it. Agar wood would be 100 and sandalwood is 80. It's best if you can use agar wood. If you can't, then sandalwood will do to about 80% of it. It is okay. It complies to the Dharma rule. The next question. Is it okay to have Vajrasattva as a protector as well as a yidam? Vajrasattva is the symbol of the Vajradhara. It's the head of Tantrayana. And he has 3 bodies. Vajrasattva, 3 images, 3 appearances. Vajrasattva, Vajra hand or Vajrapani, and Vajra heart. Vajra heart is the Dharma nature, and Vajra hand is the protector, Vajrapani. And Vajrasattva, the appearance. Typically speaking, a Buddha has 3 bodies. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have 3 bodies. One is the wrathful appearance. Wrathful appearance, the serene experience, and the mix of serene and wrathful appearance. 3 bodies. So in that case, Vajrasattva is considered to be the serene body, and Vajrapani or Vajra hand is the wrathful appearance, and Vajra heart is the mix of serene and wrathful appearance. A mix of both. So you can have Vajrasattva as your yidam, and the protector would be Vajra hand or Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So they are separate. So Vajrasattva is yidam, and Vajrapani is the protector. This way. We have Vajrapani Bodhisattva's practice procedure, right? Yes. And Vajrasattva practice procedure, we have that too. So just separate them. That would be better. Next question. Should our altar at home be placed in the same way as our bed and desk, which is not to be in the direct opposite from the door? Yes. That's the right question. The altar should not be in the direct opposite from the door, except if you're a big temple, like your Lijiang temple, then the altar can face the front door. But the altar at home should choose a place where it collect the qi, the energy, and to store the wind. At home should be like that, but temples would be different. Or chapters, temples, chapters, centers, the altars can face the door. Like this altar here, it faces directly from the main door of the Homa hall. But your personal altar should be at a place where it can collect energy. The next question. Beloved Grandmaster, in Yogacara school it mentions the 8 consciousness: eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, mental consciousness, mano vijnana, defiled mental consciousness, and storehouse consciousness. Of these 8 consciousness, the modern term of the 6th sense is a function of which consciousness? Also, the modern term of subconsciousness, of bias and tendencies is a function of which consciousness? The 6th sense, or keen intuitive power. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mental, defiled mental consciousness, and alaya, vijnana. Based on what I know, the 6th sense. Let me consult Golden Mother again. The mano vijnana, which is the mental consciousness. The eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mental. That's combined, which is the mental root. That's mano vijnana. So the 6th sense belongs to the mano vijnana. And the modern term of subconsciousness or bias or tendencies is a function of which consciousness or combination of which consciousness? Many consciousness are superficial or on the surface. Ear, eye, nose, tongue, body, and mind. The 6 consciousness are the superficial consciousness. But Mona Vijnana is it's deeper consciousness. So subconsciousness is the same as the 6th sense. So subconsciousness is the same as the 6th sense. And alaya vijnana, or storehouse consciousness, or immaculate consciousness, or undefiled. It means pure, immaculate consciousness. Pure consciousness or immaculate consciousness. And both the sixth sense and subconsciousness are considered the mona vijnana. Or is it a combined function of the consciousness? Yes, that too. Yes, that too. Because all the superficial consciousness and the subconsciousness, they're all interrelated. Things that you see, things that you hear, things that you smell, things that you taste by the tongue, and the touch by the body and your mind, all combined. That's the mona vijnana, which is also subconscious and also the sixth sense. So it is a mutual or combined function. So the alaya vijnana, so it's also called the Tathagata consciousness or the storehouse Tathagata consciousness. So in Buddhism, it is the deepest, the finest, the most profound consciousness. That's the alaya vijnana. I asked a personal trainer at the gym. I eat about a pound of lychee every day. In English, it's called lychee. And the doctor replied, "Do you know a sickness called the lychee disease? That the insulin affect the low blood sugar. Do you know about this lychee sickness disease? Lychee disease." You cannot eat lychee on an empty stomach. And if you eat a pound, then you would suffer from the lychee disease. Anybody knows? Nobody. Yanqi, do you know? I don't know. I rarely eat lychee. It is the insulin problem that affected low sugar. And so the patient asked, "So what should I do then?" "Well, just share the lychee with me. Don't eat a pound at a time. Just eat a little bit." You can check it on the internet. So if you eat too much lychee on an empty stomach, Master Lien Yu They mention many of the symptoms. And the most important one is that the blood pressure will continue to drop. It's sweet, right? How come? Because of the insulin? Low blood sugar. Then you can faint and die. Hyperventilating. It doesn't matter what you eat, you cannot eat too much of one thing. That's why the concept of the middle way, like in Buddhism, the Madhyamaka, the middle way is very important. Not too high, not too low. Has to be just right, within the range. That would be the best. The same thing when we eat. If you eat a bowl, half a bowl, 2 bowls are okay. But if you eat 3, 4 bowls, 5 bowls, 6 bowls, 7 bowls, 8 bowls, then you would become poor from eating it. And if you eat like that every day, that's no good. Half a bowl, 1 or 1.5 or 2 bowls are still okay. But if you don't eat it completely, it's also no good. So always the middle way. For the blood pressure, between 80 and 120. 80 is too low. For blood pressure? No. 70 to 100 are normal. So there's a standard, not too high, not too low. 70 to 110. And the same thing with blood sugar. So we always have to maintain the middle way. So in Grandmaster's handling of all issues, always not too much, not too little, just right, in the middle. That Master Lien Teng, when he was learning Cantonese, always saying ngam ngam ho, just right. That like when you play a lute instrument, the strings cannot be too tight, then it will break easily. But if it's too loose, there's no music produced. So Master Lien Teng, when he was giving Dharma teaching, he always said, just right. Just right is good. Not too much. Grandmaster loves to joke. But sometimes when I joke too much, that's also no good. But if I don't joke at all, and always have the poker face, you know, the poker face also too serious, that's also no good. teacher asked the student, "What are your aspirations?" And Xiaoming replied, "Oh, my dream is to change the world." And the teacher replies, "Before you change the world, make sure you do it before you get married. Because after marriage, then you will be changed by your wife instead." The spiritual experiences of the accumulation now. Not. The verse states, "The winter wind carries a knife to open the knots. Like when eating raw and dirty feast, it gives pain in the channels and qi, like the piercing cold of the winter wind, which is painful upon touch." This is very good. The spiritual experiences of the accumulation. The joke that I just told embodies this spiritual experiences. Which joke? Is the joke about eating the lychee. The accumulated spiritual experience. You are a yogi, you cannot eat food with cold characteristics. Our food are considered to be warming or cooling. Like the red bean is warming and the green mung bean is cooling. And the white beans are neutral and the black beans are tonifying. So the red bean will increase the fire, the mung beans will increase the water, the white beans are neutral and the black beans are full of nutrients. So the accumulated spiritual experience mentioned, if you're a yogi, a sadhaka, a spiritual cultivator, and you practice in a fire every day, and yet you eat food, a cooling food, then you already have erectile dysfunction because you're too hot. So you keep eating cooling food to neutralize it, but maybe you eat too much of it. Then it would be painful. It would give pain in the channels and qi, like the piercing cold of the winter wind, which is painful upon touch. So when Grandmaster every day practicing in a fire, the inner fire always moves every day, and I don't use the water to extinguish the fire. And Simu always eat the mung bean soup, but I eat the red bean soup. We eat differently. Everybody's body is different. Simu loves mung bean soup. I only ate mung bean soup when I was young, because when you were young, you had more heat and fire inside your body, and the mung bean soup would cool you and decrease the fire inside your body. As I grow old, I never eat mung bean soup anymore. I eat red bean soup. Simu knows. I never eat mung bean soup because it is cooling. And if you eat too much cooling food, the winter wind carries a knife to open the knots. It gives pain in the channels and qi like the piercing cold of the winter wind. And one more thing. Anybody here has gout? Like your joints that's swollen and sometimes very painful. Or you have pain here and pain there. You know, gout is a kind of disease. Some people like Master Lien Hai from Taiwan also have gout for a long time. So they have a taboo, like the kinds of food you should avoid when you have gout, like beans in Taiwan, seafood. So you should avoid those food. So as spiritual cultivator, you should do this. Avoid things that create pain in you. Because you have accumulated all the food that cause gout, therefore you experience the gout. So that's the accumulated spiritual experience. So the sensation or the experience of that pain is because you eat too much of the food that causes the pain. So as spiritual cultivator, we should pay attention to our food. That your diet is also a kind of precept. What you should eat, what you cannot eat. There are rules. In learning or practicing a dharma, like if you're too hot, you have to decrease, and if you're too cold, you have to increase the warmth. So these are all in this section, accumulated spiritual experience. So we don't eat all we like. So like eating raw food or dirty food, that's no good. If you eat raw food or unclean food, then of course you would get sick. Like last night, I was talking about the 6 great gods. There's one clan called the Zhuren clan. This great god especially taught us how to ignite a fire by rubbing 2 blocks of wood. And when it reached that point, then fire will be ignited. And in order to ignite the inner fire, you have to rely on this method, rubbing the woods. And the woods are the ingredients, the fuel. And in order for you to ignite the inner fire inside your body, you also need the fuels. And what are the fuels? The accumulated spiritual experiences. The food that you eat and the qi. So the qi rubbings against the food that would ignite the fire or the inner fire. And this is considered the accumulated spiritual experiences. So we cannot eat too much lychee. If you eat too much, then you are hyperventilating, the blood pressure decreases, and then you would be fainting and even death. That's the concept. Now do you understand? So, as spiritual cultivator, we also have this precept. You cannot eat unfresh or food that's not fresh or raw food. Food that's not fresh, that's not clean, cannot be eaten. Having a secret crush on one person is really quite miserable. That's why I have secret crush on many people. Of course, this is just a joke. But this is also an accumulated spiritual experience. Secret crush should be just right. If you don't have the secret crush, then you have no desire. And if you have secret crush for so many, then that would be rubbish. That's why everything has to be just right. So this is in this to belong to the accumulated spiritual experience or spiritual experiences of the accumulation. The wife asked the husband, "Honey, who's the biggest in our home?" The husband replied, "Of course you, my dear wife." And the wife slapped him in his face. And the wife said, "Are you saying I'm older than you?" This is also a joke. The wife said, "Oh, I work so hard. I'm too tired to take a shower." And the husband replied, "But honey, you haven't showered for 5 days." And the wife replied, "Can you check? If I really smell bad, then I will take a shower." And the husband did smell her body, and he got poisoned. What is this? This is the accumulated spiritual experiences. You don't bathe every day. How can we stand you? Before, when we chant the Buddha in the Seattle temple, there was a homeless man, Caucasian, and he was wearing his clothes and followed us chanting the Buddhas while circumambulating inside the Seattle temple complex. And all of us almost fainted. Where? What smell? He was homeless. He never took a bath. And we thought it was his clothes. So we asked him to take the rag, the jacket or the suit, and to place it on the hanger. And then when we passed by that, oh my God, we got dizzy. It was a really strong body odor. And the one walking behind him. Now we have to maintain the 6 feet. But at that time, even with 10 feet distance, we still could smell it. And someone who told him? Someone told him, if you come join us chanting the Buddha, you should clean yourself first and wear clean clothes. Because we were like a fish in the water and we couldn't hold it up. So we were like the belly up, floating. And we all fainted except him. So this is the accumulated spiritual experiences. So a yogi, sadhaka, yogi, yogini, monk or bhikshu, bhikshuni or nuns, spiritual cultivators should know about diet. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.